Welcome back to Quarantine Kitchen. This is episode 4. Delighted to be back. It's been about a week or so. Just sitting here with nothing to do, probably like you guys. So I thought I'd whip up something fun and something that I have loved for a long time, but I have never really tried to cook myself. So this will be an adventure for all concerned. So let me give you a big namaste as well, because we're going back to India, up to the Himalayas, India, far northern India, Tibet, Nepal, that region, for their version of what every culture has, the dumpling. So tonight we are going to be making momos. That's right. We're going to make a veg momo and a chicken momo. All right. I first tried momos, was turned on to them. I loved Indian food, but it's not something that's in a lot of restaurants. You won't find them in South Indian restaurants. Won't find them really in a lot of Northern Indian restaurants. If it says Nepalese or Tibetan, it'll probably have it. There's a restaurant in Amherst, Massachusetts called Momo, and it's really good, and it of course serves momos. But really, it's not something that's usually on the menu, so I hadn't really encountered it until I was in the Himalayas in Dharmashala, just down the road from this guy's house, eating momos. It was great. They're a big street food all through that region, all through northern India and up into the mountains. So it's a great treat. 2 fillings, a sauce. The sauce is key. The sauce is really what makes the momo it's a momo, but it's one of the things that makes it like a special kind of thing, and that's really awesome. So we're going to do a veg filling, a chicken filling, and the sauce. Then it's a real simple, like 3 ingredient dough. Let it sit, roll it out real thin, and then make circles and do the filling. And then there's different ways to seal the momo. There are little decorative things, and I'm gonna try my hand at that, and at least I'll be able to explain it, if not show it to you. Okay? So, welcome to phase 2 of Quarantine Kitchen, where we have 4 cameras in action, and I don't have to deal with anything because we're shooting them all at once, so it's great. So we're going to come over here and look at the ingredients, look at our mise for the vegetable momos. Okay, so we've got 2 cups of shredded or chopped, about that size, white cabbage, 3/4 of a cup shredded carrots, 4 ounces of extra firm tofu, kind of ground and crumbled up. We've got, what have we got? I got a 1/2 cup of green onions, both colored parts. Got a 1/4 cup of cilantro, chopped, minced. We've got 3, or if you're really into it, 4 cloves of garlic minced. We got a teaspoon of ginger minced. 2 teaspoons. Sorry guys. 2 teaspoons of salt. 1 teaspoon of pepper. And that is the gig. So without further ado, first part of this is fairly easy. We're going to be working with just these 3 ingredients and the salt. And oh boy, what do? Toss in the carrots. Toss in the cabbage. Oops, not that. Toss in the green onions. Stir that up. And then, oops, fly away. We're going to take the salt, sprinkle that over, stir that up. More. And one more time, finishing it off. And then we're just going to sit and let this absorb about 10 to 15 minutes. and we'll be right back. Okay, it's been exactly 15 minutes since we put the salt on. Now here's the only tricky thing about doing this veg filling. We want to drain as much of the liquid out as we can before we add the other ingredients. So you can take a paper towel, you can use cheesecloth, muslin, whatever you got. But we're going to dump this onto it. Gather it up, almost like a Momo. You can see what's happening already. We want to drain all that excess water out by giving it a squeeze. All right. And you can see there's a bit of water. You can see there's a bit of water. Leave that there. And then we're just going to add this back in now that it's nice and dried out. And then into this, we're going to add the tofu, pretty much everything else in the ingredient list, the cilantro, the garlic, the ginger, and the black pepper. Stir this up, not too aggressively because you don't want to break the tofu up much more than it already is. Get that nice and integrated. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the veg filling section for the chicken momos. For the veg momos. We're going to make the chicken momos in a second. Last thing you want to do, hit it with a little splash of oil, olive oil, maybe a teaspoon to 2. Get that all nice and mixed in. I'm going to stick this in a Ziploc bag, drop it in the fridge. You can make this the day before, I'm sure. Keep the veggies cool. Give them a minute to come up to room temperature a little bit, or closer to, before you make the momos and put them in the steamer. But we're good to go on this. This is the veg filling. We're done here. Next stop is the chicken filling. Okay, we've got the filling for the veg momos in the fridge. Now we're going to hit the chicken momo filling. This is 1 pound of ground chicken. You can get it in the store pre-ground if you can still get chicken. We've got a ½ cup chopped onions, a tablespoon of minced garlic, ½ tablespoon of soy sauce, ¼ tablespoon of vinegar, and in here is mixed a tablespoon of salt and ½ tablespoon of pepper. And you know, folks, that is pretty much what it's going to take. So get this out of the way. Bring that in. I'm going to hit the flame. About a tablespoon of oil. Let that heat up. So we're just letting the oil heat up here. Going to be ready with the garlic and the onions. Those are going to go in. Followed not too far behind by the chicken itself. And there we got some sizzle. So in goes the garlic. In go the onions. And we'll just give it a quick stir just to get things going until the onions get a little translucent. A little clear, maybe a minute. Now, keep in mind when we cook through this the first time, once we make the chicken momos, we're going to first steam them, and then we're going to deep fry them. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for things to cook. So after about that, in goes the chicken. Now we do want to get it very chopped up for the final product, make it easier to fill the Momo dough skins with. If you've ever had a larb in a Thai restaurant, going for a consistency like that, or maybe a little smaller even. But again, always plenty of time to bust it up later on. And so you see it's finally starting to come together. I mean, you don't really want to brown it. It's going to get a lot more cooking, as I said. But you want to make sure you've broken up the biggest chunks for now, and that everything is at least cooked through a little bit. Going to kill the heat. And now, having killed the heat, we're going to add the soy sauce, the salt and the pepper, and the vinegar. Stir all that around. And that is pretty much it. Just make sure everything gets a little bit of the soy sauce on it. Just going to stick this into a bowl and toss this in the fridge next to the veg filling. Then we're going to come back, make the sauce, and then it's onto the dough, filling it, steaming it, frying it, and the best part, eating it. Veg and chicken momos, veg, non-veg, coming right up on Quarantine Kitchen. Okay, it's time to make the sauce, the chutney for the momos. Like pretty much any Indian recipe, this is totally an improvised thing. Some recipes don't have the almonds, they use sesame seeds. Some recipes do this, some recipes do that. It's really just a matter of taste and whatever tradition that those people choose to follow. This is kind of, I looked at a bunch of different recipes, and this is a pretty standard way to make the Momo chutney. Momos are good with all different kinds of chutney, and they're good with soy sauce as well, but this is what we're going to do for this evening. So we have 2 tomatoes, 2 dried red chilies, half a white onion in quarters, 4 almonds. This is maybe a half-inch little cube thing, square of ginger. We've got salt to taste, and we've got a half a teaspoon of sugar, 2 cups of water. All right, we're going to make a bit of a stew. Start by adding the water, and then just set the tomatoes in there. Toss, well, break these apart, maybe de-seed them. And get them in there. There'll be some seeds, what the hell. So toss those in there, and then toss the onion in there. And toss the ginger in there. And toss the almonds in there. Pretty much everything is, except the salt and the sugar. And then we're going to bring this to roiling boil on about a medium heat. And then we're going to let it boil for about 10 to 12 minutes. And we'll be back after that happens. And now that it's come to a nice rolling boil, we're going to dial back down the heat just to keep it there. And we're going to let this ride for about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, so after about 10 to 12 minutes, we just take this concoction off the flame. We'll let it cool down. And then we'll strain it and blend it up. So now let's finish the Momo chutney. The sauce, we've got the tomatoes from that boil. We're going to take the skin off of them. Yes, indeed, easy peasy. The juice. Don't want the skins. Perfect. And then this whole thing goes in. And that whole thing goes in, no skin. Toss the rest of that in. Then we've got all the stuff, the other stuff from the boil, the red peppers, the onions, and the ginger. Those will go into and then true to form, I forgot an ingredient. So we've got 3 cloves of garlic, but we can't drop raw garlic in at this point. So what I did was I just kind of sauteed them for a couple of minutes, turned them a little brown, got them a little soft to put them in there. We're going to put this on the blender and zap it up. So let's check that out. All right, got the blender, got everything in there, including the garlic that I forgot. And we're just going to blend it all up. All right, and that's it. We're done. Tastes great. And we're just going to let the flavors kind of combine. Stick this again back in the fridge with everything else. So we've got, at this point, we've got the, let me come back here. So at this point, we've got the sauce, we've got the veg filling, we've got the chicken filling. Now it's time to make the dough. I'm going to make the dough. I'm going to save you the hassle. It's 4 ingredients. There will be an ingredient list at the end of the podcast, as always. Flour, salt, water, a little bit of oil. That's 5 ingredients. 4. No, wait, 5. 3, sir. That's really it. Get it into a nice, smooth ball. Let it sit for 30 minutes. So I'm going to come back at that point, and we'll roll the dough out, cut the circles, make the momos, and cook them up. Okay, so as promised, here I have the Momo dough. The Momo dough. It is 2 cups of flour, 3/4 of a cup of water, half a tablespoon of salt, and a tablespoon of oil, olive oil. And you knead it, actually took a little bit more flour tonight, you knead it until you get this slightly, it doesn't stick to, it doesn't pull off with your fingers, but it's very, very soft. Now, for momos and for Momo dough, you want it to be as thin as you possibly can make it. So on this size board, I'm going to take this and take about 1/4 of it, or 1/3, 1/4 to 1/3. Set the rest aside. And I'm just going to work with this to get it extremely, extremely thin. And it takes a while. And so here we have ultimately a very thinly rolled piece of about 1/3 of that ball of dough. So now that we've got that almost paper thin, I'm not going to hold it up and show you, but we want to cut 4-inch to 5-inch circles to be our Momo little skin, our Momo dough. Now, I don't have a precise cookie cutter thing here. I'm not much of a baker. But oddly enough, what I do have that definitely works are Fish Madison Square Garden cups. Because that right there is the perfect size. So using this as my cookie cutter, I'm going to drop in and just start cutting away with as little waste as possible. We'll just get one out of that. There you go. And then we'll peel away the excess. Toss that back in the pile. And we're ready to begin. Keeping it in the non-dominant hand, taking a scoopful, placing it in the middle. A little wet around the edges, and then thumb in place, begin to twist and twist again. I mean pleat and pleat and pleat, and keep turning it as you pleat to get the circular twisty one. Pleat, pleat, push, filling in, pleat, pleat, turn, pleat, pleat, push, push. So you're pushing it in to make a little pouch as you pleat around the top, and then when you give it that final twist, you get the little top thing, and you get the twisty look, and it looks kind of like a Momo. So I finished the batch of veg, and I started cutting out the circles for the chicken, so we're going to look at how we do the chicken real quick. Again, take a nice spoonful of filling. Kind of bring it over, sealing it up. You could put some water in there. Two, I forgot to. We'll do it on the next one, and just make sure it's all nice and sealed up there, or close to it, and then you can hit it with a fork just to really kind of push in that seal. Boom. It's not the official Momo fold for that, but it's fast and furious, so it's good. And so here we have our finished lightly greased cookie sheets with our veg Momos and our chicken Momos. I made one chicken Momo in the shape of a veg Momo by mistake. Now, we're just going to steam the veg. We're going to fry the chicken, but before we fry the chicken, we have to steam the chicken. So we're going to start by steaming the chicken, and then we're going to fry them, steam the veg. It's very easy. Double boiler, lightly grease the top of the steamer so these things don't stick. Place them in about 10 minutes in the steamer for each batch. I have a kind of small steamer, so it's going to take a couple batches. So I'm just going to take a couple shots of it while it's steaming, and you guys will get the idea because you're smart. So there they are. 5 chicken Momos sitting in the double boiler. It's steaming now. I'm going to put the top on, and then 10 minutes. Set them aside. Do the next batch. 10 minutes. Set them aside. Then we'll fire up the oil, and we'll steam the rest of the veg Momos, and then we'll be done. So I've got the last of the veg Momos steaming here on the steamer. There you can see it. And here I've got the oil heating up to fry off the chicken Momos. So we're just going to let the oil come up to heat. These things will be done in about 5 minutes. We'll bang out the chicken ones. We're going to heat the sauce up in a skillet too, and that's the last little step. But we're almost done. So we've got a few more minutes left on steaming the Momos here. Those are the rest of the veg Momos. The oil here has come up to heat, and we're just going to start dropping in the chicken Momos. A couple minutes on each side. Keep flipping them. Stick them on a paper towel to drain. And then drop in the next batch. Okay, so we've got, you can see them there, Momos, chicken Momos fried. See them in the top, see them right there. They're going to drain for a little bit. Last piece. Heat this up. Little pan. Tiny bit of oil. Grab the sauce. Moving around, bring the flame around. And we're just going to let that warm up. And once this heats up again, gets a little bit more cooked, we will plate it and we will be done. Chicken and veg momos. And there you have it, my friends. Veg and chicken momos with the Momo chutney. I put a little black sesame seeds on top of the veg ones and a little green onion on top of the sauce. A lot of work. It's a tough one. Make the fillings the day before, make the sauce the day before, and then warm it up in the pan like I showed you, and you'll be in good shape. Practice with the dough. It's an acquired skill, and I've not yet acquired it, so thank you for indulging. As I always say, if you're watching cooking videos, and especially if you're making cooking videos, keep in mind there's a lot of people who can't do any of this right now because of no fault of their own, because of the virus, because of everything that's going on. So we would love it if you would help support them and go to feedamerica.org and make a donation there. They're getting the food to food banks. It's the best way to do it for sure. Feedamerica.org. Another organization that we like is mealtrain.com. You can send meals from local restaurants to frontline healthcare workers at a local facility near you, so you can buy, a team lunch or something. And it comes from a local restaurant, so it's helping support them as well because they need all the business that they can get. Something that we're doing up here is at least, one night a week we try to order out from one of the few restaurants that is still, doing any sort of cooking and curbside pickup or whatever, or delivery, just to help them out for sure. And last but not least, go to endgamepodcast.com. That's where I'm from. I'm DJ Downtown, aka Zarmisha, from all of the podcasts. We have a lot of TV podcasts. We have a kind of very bitter and brutal political podcast going on as well, and we've got some other stuff as well as these cooking things going on. So endgamepodcast.com for all of that stuff. Been my pleasure. Thank you very much. Leave a comment. Try the recipe. Let me know if it works for you. If it doesn't, let me know that too. And I'll check the YouTube page at some point, or you can send email from the webpage at endgamepodcast.com. Stay tuned for the ingredients list for each of the fillings and for the dough and for the sauce. And we'll be back next time by request. Gonna do the sous vide. We're gonna do a sous vide Asian thing, I think, because we had some requests for some sous vide demos here. So if you've never seen that, stay tuned. It's going to be fun. But until then, as always, namaste. Enjoy your momos, and thank you all very much. Talk to you soon.